Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tessa and you are watching an episode of Conversations with Tessa, okay? If you are new to my channel, I am a tarot reader and I do astrology as well, and this is going to be the first Conversations with Tessa video that I'm going to be doing where I will be diving into some investigative astrology. And we're going to be investigating the astrology of Astroworld, okay? So later on in this video is going to be broken up into parts and segments because there's a lot of layers, there's a lot of dimensions, and there's a lot of things that I want to get through, that I want to talk about, and that I want to, ultimately share with you guys. In addition to looking at the chart for the Astroworld tragedy, which was November 5th, 2021, I have it set to 9 p.m., which is the exact time that, Travis Scott took stage. We will also be looking at Travis Scott's chart as well, okay? So I just kind of want to give you guys a little introduction as far as what you can expect from this video, because it is going to be fairly long, I think, and I'm probably going to film it in parts because there are different elements to this story that I do want to talk about, that I want to discuss, and that I want to kind of like bring into the picture as a way to unfold this video and as a way to kind of move through the different layers and the different dimensions that we are going to see here today, okay? With that being said, I am going to start by kind of giving you guys giving you guys a little insight as to why this story, why I decided to do this video, and why I felt like it was important to do this video, and why I became very why I became so, I guess, like obsessed with following this story of the Astroworld tragedy, okay? I'm not really, I'm kind of taking a break from it. I'm probably going to still follow it to an extent, but initially when I first found out what happened, I was following it very intently. I was listening to the stories of the victims. That was the biggest, that was my main priority. That was the biggest thing, was just to listen to as many voices as I could, and to really allow the story and the experience of the individual to kind of penetrate and, kind of open up something within me, like on a deeper level, okay? So, and there's a reason for all of that, okay? There's a reason for all of that. When you are talking about an experience that that deals with death, and an experience that has forced you in one way or another to look at your own death and to look at your own life, as well as those of others around you, it forces you, and it penetrates within your those types of traumatic experiences, kind of forces you to look deeper within yourself and to really open your eyes to what's going on around you, okay? To open your eyes to what is going on around you, what is, it becomes an eye opener, okay? It becomes an eye opener. It wakes you up, and I know, and it really sucks. It really sucks that something like that, that a tragedy, and I feel like anyone who has experienced a tragedy in their life can agree or contend to an extent with the fact that tragedies or near-death experiences, when you are being faced with this idea that your life might end, or someone else's life might end, or someone else's life did end, it kind of like thwarts you into this new direction, okay? It like thwarts you into realizing things and waking up within you a whole new dimension to life. A whole new dimension to life, okay? And this has always been something that has been part of me, this dimension, okay? This dimension has always been something that has kind of been deep within my soul, and something that has always been part of me, and something I have always felt and just kind of like experienced in one way or another throughout my life, through my own tragedies, through the tragedies that have happened with my family, and even just like certain energies that I have felt throughout my life that were either like within my, like around me, or like a bigger picture kind of thing, you know, like a more collective kind of thing. So this, okay, so now, okay. So this is the reason why this particular story, like I'm not the type of person, I think, who is just going to like, you know, do just any video on my channel. Like I feel like if I'm gonna do a video on my channel, it's gonna be because there's some kind of meaning in it for me. There's some kind of like, it means something to me. There is something that is representative in that story that is like creating a source of reflection for myself, as well as for the world around me. And so I just, you know, this story resonated with me on so many different levels, and, you know, but the deepest level that it resonated with me on was this dimension of like death or near death, okay? So, okay. Now, what does that mean? Okay, so I guess like my goal for this video is to be able to bring to the light, and be able to bring out into the open, to the light, and for you guys, what this could mean for the people who are involved. What does it mean for us as citizens who are watching, who are just following the story? What does it mean for the bigger picture? What does it mean for the music industry? What does it mean for the future? Okay, what does it all mean? Okay. And I really just kind of felt called, I guess you can say, to kind of do this video with that kind of idea, to want to perhaps tackle some of the answers to that and to bring it more into the light, okay? So we can start the healing process, and so we can start bringing the message forward, and so we can start bringing meaning into all of this, like meaning, okay? So with all that being said, I'm going to give you a little breakdown of how this video is going to be broken up, okay? So I am going to begin this video talking about my own personal experience as a concert goer and when I was younger, and as a music lover, and as someone who has always felt a very deep connection to music, who has gone to so many, I really don't even know how many concerts, festivals, you name it. Since I was 14 years old, I started going to concerts and festivals. So I'm going to kind of like share my own experience. I'm going to give you my own personal, my own personal experience. So this is my experience, okay? I can't speak for anybody else who attended the concerts that I've attended, but this is my experience. And then I want to also dive in a little bit to, when I started following this story and the different videos that I was watching, because I was listening to the stories of not just the victims. I was listening to the families who had a loved one in the crowd that passed away. I was listening to lawyers give their perspective. So many different perspectives. There's a lot of different videos out there that are trying to kind of like, bring in their own perspective, bring in their own kind of layer, their own dimension to this whole travesty. There's conspiracies, there's, people breaking down the symbolism of the event and of Travis Scott and all that type of stuff. They're breaking that down. That's really interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff out there. There's a lot of people bringing out their own, based on their own life journey and their own, what they know, what they can bring to the table, putting stuff out there, okay? So I'll just kind of like touch on that just a little bit. And then we're going to dive into the astrology, okay? And then we're going to take a look at the Astrology of Astroworld Fest, Houston, Texas, November 5th, 2021, set to 9 p.m. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the astrology. I'm going to break that down for you and kind of give you a more objective and kind of give you an idea of what was going on there, okay, of what was going on there. And then we're going to take a look at Travis Scott's chart as well. Now, the thing that I need to mention about Travis Scott's chart is that it is not accurate. I haven't been able to find his birth time. So this specific chart is set on a specific time that I have chosen based just on my own, observations of him, so to speak. Observations of him tied together with a analysis that I read on the internet by an astrologist who happened to have their own theories and ideas as to why Travis might be a ... ascendant, okay? Cancer ascendant, okay? But that does not mean that that is accurate, okay? These are just analyses based on what they know of Travis's life and things like that. So based on my observations of his music, based on my, based on just like the energy that I get from Travis Scott, and tied together with this other person's analysis, I kind of like put together my own theory, or hypothesis, so to speak, okay, because it's not 100% accurate. But I am going to, so when we get to that part about Travis, I just want you to know that I am only going to be providing, I'm going to be providing the most significant information based on the things that are set in stone, okay? So the best way to explain that is basically like, okay, there are certain things that are not going to be, Jesus Christ, like these ambulances around here. Oh my God, do you hear that? It's really hot in my apartment. I don't control the heat. So like I gotta open my windows. I'm so sorry. Is it a sign? I don't know. We're still in Scorpio season here, so woo. Okay, so basically, like, basically everything in his chart is going to be like accurate except for his ascendant sign and his moon sign, okay? Because there were 2 different moons on the day that he was born, April 30th, 1991 in Houston, Texas. So I'm just going to basically break down like just a little bit of that speculation, like, oh, well, you know, like, if he was born between this time and this time, then he was this moon sign. This time, this was that moon sign. Okay, but overall, like, the things that I'm actually going to get into as far as like the planets and the signs and the aspects, because those are true to what they are. Okay, the houses that they fall into are not accurate, or you can say there's a good that they might not be accurate, but I would rather just say they're not accurate because I don't want anybody to like I don't want anybody to have seeds planted in their mind that this is accurate when I'm doing this based off of just my a time that I put in there. Okay, so we're not going to be breaking things down based on where this is happening in his life or the houses. We're only looking at the significant planets that we know for sure are throughout the whole day of April 30th from 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. These were stationed planets and zodiac signs that did not move during the day. I mean, maybe they moved by like a minute or something, but you know, like, who the fuck has time to analyze a minute? So, so yes, because there is still significant things happening, okay? There is still very much significant things kind of happening in his chart. You know, this is in no way intended. I have no intentions of like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? This is purely investigative. I call this investigative astrology. This is purely investigative astrology, just to try and understand the bigger picture of what's happening and what can be done and what Travis can do, you know, or what he might do or what he could do to help the situation, okay? Like, just my own personal opinion based on my own intuitive understanding of astrology, okay? So, and, you know, I've read books, like, I'm educated, and I personally feel that I have a pretty good grasp on astrology, okay? I feel pretty confident that I have a pretty good grasp on it and what's going on, okay? So, yeah. So I just wanted to kind of like put that out there, and just kind of like let you guys know. And then in addition to that, we're just kind of going to break things down by comparing his chart with just the planets and Astroworld's chart, okay? So because we don't know his exact birthday, I'm not going to be able to analyze the 2 charts side by side as Astroworld's chart transiting his chart, because we still don't know what the house is where everything is falling. So it would kind of create that's just pointless to do it that way, in all honesty. So the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to do it as Travis's chart transiting the Astroworld chart. So how is, because that means that we're lining up his planets and zodiac signs to the astral world, since we know 100%. Since we have a definitive chart for Astroworld, but not a definitive chart for Travis, we're going to do it where we're going to see where his chart is matching up with the chart of that day. Because usually, if you are into astrology, so it's going to be kind of like, how can he now kind of like help, how can he help this situation that occurred? We can see maybe some clues as to how he can step forward and kind of help the situation. Now, on, you know, on a collective scale, so to speak, you know, all of it. So, yeah, so I hope that's making sense. I'm sorry if I'm starting to sound a little all over the place, but I promise you this is just an introduction. So once we actually get into it, it's going to make a little bit more sense. It's going to make more sense, okay? It's going to make more sense, period. I'm just going to say it. So, yeah, so like I was saying before, if you follow astrology, if you have your own chart pulled up, typically the way that we do transits is we look at the transits that are going on in the sky, and where in our life and how and where this is transiting in our chart. Okay, like for instance, I have Scorpio in my 10th house. The sun is currently in Scorpio, so it's transiting my 10th house. We can't do that for Travis. We can't say that the Astroworld sun is transiting his first, you know, his 5th house, because we have no idea if that really is, if Scorpio really is in his 5th house. So that's an example. But what we can do is we can look at the Astroworld chart and we can be like, okay, Travis's sun in Taurus is transiting this house for Astroworld. So that we can do. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we can flip it. And that way it's kind of like, you know, it's just kind of like flipping the switch and putting Travis a little bit more in a godlike position. Which might actually prove to be more helpful, since you know that, you know, he was the focal point. You know, he was the main attraction in regards to a big event that feels pretty. It was a cosmic kind of event, you know, or I don't even know if I would say cosmic, because that sounds almost supernatural, and we want to be careful when we're referring to something as supernatural, because then you know, if you start, I really liked what this one guy said. I don't even remember where I saw this video, but this one guy was like, you don't want to start calling things that are just like, you know, that take on a different kind of tone. Like, you don't want to just start attaching words just because to something if that's not what it is, because then when the real supernatural shit starts happening, you know, people are going to be like, what the fuck, you know? So we're not going to call it, I'm not going to call it that. I'm just going to break it down based on the astrology and the symbolism of the freaking crazy astrology that unfolded throughout the month of November. November has been very, very intense, okay? And when you put together a specific, you know, when you put 2 and 2 together and you put certain things together, it can create chaos. So this is what you guys have to, I guess, look forward to in this video. This is what you guys have to sift through. Okay, so this, so yeah, with that being said, this is my introduction, and I'm gonna start part 2 now, okay, which is just my own personal experience as a music lover and concert goer. All right. Whew.